Hello, and thanks for joining us on Movie Night Memories. You must remember this, a podcast that focuses on movies and our favorite memories of them. Each week we discuss the films that are celebrating an anniversary from when they came out in theaters. My name is Sword Alexander, and I'm joined by the inspiration of this podcast, my mom Tracy.
Hey everybody.
This week we're going to be talking about movies released between March 2nd through the 8th. We have This Is Spinal Tap with a 42nd anniversary, Highlander with a 40th anniversary, The Big Lebowski with a 28th anniversary, and The Grand Budapest Hotel with a 12th anniversary. First up, we're going to be talking about This Is Spinal Tap. It was released on March 2nd, 1984, directed by Rob Reiner, and it was written by Reiner, along with Christopher Guest, Michael McKean, and Harry Shearer. This is a movie that you have a lot of history with.
Yes, absolutely. It's a cult classic for our family.
If Rocky Horror didn't exist, this would be your Rocky Horror. But Rocky Horror does exist for your family.
Yeah, but it's a different kind of. No, this is our metal. This is our metal cult movie. My family, we love. It's more loved really than Rocky Horror in our family.
Because we have always been a rock family growing up.
Yes.
I mean, I remember listening to Guns N' Roses when I was just a baby.
Yes.
And a toddler. I remember seeing home videos of me right next to the speakers as you're blasting all kinds of different metal, Dokken and Sabotage and whatnot.
Yes.
And this rings true today. I mean, I love a good hair metal band. And This Is Spinal Tap is such an iconic film for, I would say, and I say this with as much love and respect as possible for the older generations. Young people, as in people my age and younger, just don't appreciate it in the same way that your generation does. And it's so...
This is a very important film. We went and saw this in the theaters. We were looking forward to this film.
This is one of the first films that really properly introduced what a mockumentary could be and how to take advantage of
it introduced the term. Mm-hmm. This film did. Yeah. So Rob Reiner was way ahead of his time, and he since his death, they've really appreciated him more as a director, creator of film, and appreciated this film. In fact, and we've been, praising this film from the get-go.
So in case you've never seen it before, don't know really what it's about an accomplished documentary director who decides to record the life of a hair metal rock band called Spinal Tap while they tour and promote their new album, Smell the Glove.
Yes.
And they make fun of the process of not just touring, but they also make fun of the process of trying to promote an album that's just not going to be doing very well, and then ends up flopping completely on its face.
And it's an all black album because of the sexist original idea they had.
Yes, they had this really misogynistic album cover, and they said, "What's wrong with being sexy?" And they decided instead, the record label said, "We have to change it," and they said,
because they wouldn't sell at Kmart.
Yes, they wanted to sell it at Kmart specifically.
Because that's when albums used to sell all over, especially if you got inside Kmart, it'd sell a lot more albums.
And then when they brought it out and they released a new album, it's an all-black album. Sort of like Metallica's Black Album.
Which a few years later came out.
Yes, but then in this case, it's completely black. You can't see anything. It's just a black album cover. Yeah. And that's it.
And they're upset because... And then Fran Drescher's in it. She's really funny.
So we have Christopher Guest, Michael McKean, and Harry Shearer are the three main band members of...
Yeah, because the drummer keeps dying.
Because the drummer keeps either...
The drummers that they have in their band.
Yes, they had several drummers previously, and they all keep dying of mysterious circumstances, yes. Whether that is a bizarre gardening accident, one just spontaneously combusted on stage, which you didn't believe until the end of the movie where it showed the same thing happening to this other guy. And Rob Reiner's in it. He plays
one drummer died by somebody else's vomit. He
choked on somebody else's vomit, which is absolutely horrifying. That's one of the worst ways you can die. Oh my god. Then we have Rob Reiner. This was his directorial debut, and he also plays the documentary director in this movie. It's a pretty brief role, all things considered, but you can see where so much of his charm brings into it, and This is a great movie to prove yourself with, because something that obviously was not a thing in the past, he made it a first, and still to this day.
They talk
great.
about how he filmed it. His other favorite comedy shows like Modern Family and others, Abbott's Elementary, are filmed like that.
Mm-hmm. With this this moving camera, free-forming camera style, and in documentary style filmmaking
and
as well.
all of it was improvised.
Mm-hmm. They said a giant majority of the dialogue was improvised. They made up the story as much as they could as they went along. My favorite part specifically about the movie, I've seen the movie about 3 or 4 times now.
You've seen it more than that.
Well,
You've seen it more than that.
Well, sitting down and watching it all the way through, it's like my 3rd or 4th rewatch. I don't pay that much attention to how many times I've seen it.
Okay, but you've seen it more than 3 or 4 times.
My favorite part to this day is still when they're trying to get on stage and they get lost.
Yes.
And they consistently get lost trying to find the stage. At one point, they hit a fork in the road, and then they find this guy who's one of these...
The janitors.
The janitor that works there.
He's a janitor.
And he's showing them how to get there, and he starts giving them directions. And he's like, okay, thanks very much, mate. And then they start screaming, rock and roll, rock and roll! They're trying
Hello, Cleveland! Hello, Cleveland!
They're trying to just hype themselves up because they keep getting lost, and they're trying to get excited.
Well, Pete Way, he said that they made that section of the movie about their band, UFO. Every band that I ever talked to said, they made that... They made this about us. That was exactly like us. Every band I ever talked to would espouse upon that. It was about them. Everyone.
It's so easy to get lost in these giant venues, and it always makes me laugh every single time.
Oh my god. Oh my god. It's just like bands that I've met over the years.
Well, that's where the best kind of comedy comes from.
Yes.
It comes from a semblance of truth, and that's also true not just for this film, but other ones that we saw this week as well. When this movie first came out, it had a budget of $2 million. It made $5.8 million in the box office.
Yes.
There's no way a film it's a household name kind of movie. It had to have made more money as the years went by.
Yes.
So, how was the initial reception when the film came out?
It was, no one really talked about it. We talked about it because we were, big heavy metal fans.
You as in like your family.
Yes.
We as in your family.
Yeah, and for, close friends that love metal and rock and roll and stuff. But most people didn't really know that much about this film. But we knew about this film and knew how great it was. But it was a slow burn. It was not something that people really... So some people took it seriously. They didn't understand. And you had to educate people about it. So they didn't really understand it.
Did you hear about people or hear about the film being talked about more just
later,
around your life?
Later.
How much later, per se?
A couple of years later, that you had to educate them about it. They didn't understand it. They didn't hear about it. It was not something that was talked about much until way later. So it was something that it's kind of a hidden, just like some bands that Metallica was not known about for a long time, and other bands, they were hidden. So it was not something that people knew that much about.
So I would imagine that despite the box office itself, it probably did a whole bunch of money in rentals.
Yes.
And eventually I'm sure it came on TV at some point for other ways, shapes, and forms too.
But not that much. And then I found out recently, Rob Reiner said the reason they didn't do a remake, a second Spinal Tap movie, was because they had to wait till they could own it. They only made like 82 cents per time it was shown. So they didn't make any money on this film.
Which is so bizarre because this is such a huge film that people know about this movie. I mean, it's consistently still talked about.
Well, that's why it took 40 years for them to do another one. So it doesn't make sense to me. I don't know if he was joking around or if that's true. And he had said that in a Anderson Cooper interview 3 months before he was killed.
I imagine when they initially made money off them, as they only made a little bit of money off of the initial parts of the film, but they didn't get royalties or anything like that. Because
that's what I said, when he was going to do a second part, he couldn't because he didn't own the rights to it. Mm-hmm. And he didn't want anybody else making money off of it. That's what he said.
I believe it. No, I absolutely believe it. I'm just trying to think about what more we could talk about that we haven't talked about in our free time throughout the years we've seen talking about this movie. There's a lot of little cameos in this that really stand out. I mean, Billy Crystal, he had a very, very...
Well, he wasn't a cameo. He was actually in the movie.
You think so?
Rob Reiner and him were really good friends.
But I thought he was getting popular around the 80s. He was pretty well known at that point, wouldn't you say?
It wasn't a cameo. He was in the movie. He was actually probably, Rob Reiner wanted someone in it, and he said, "Can you play this part?" And he played the part, just like Fran Drescher.
Yeah. So.
And Dana Carvey's in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I keep forgetting Dana Carvey's in this movie.
He plays one of the pantomimes. He's Mama's Bunny. You love that line.
Yeah.
Mama's Bunny.
The seriousness of Billy Crystal yelling at that to this is...
It's like, hurry up.
Yeah, hurry up. Mama's money. Because what the context is that they're at this dinner party, and instead of... what's the official term for these? They're not waiters, per se.
They're entertainment. They're the entertainment.
They're maitre d's. They're people who just hand out appetizers. And instead of just being butlers or whatever they're called, maitre d's, they're mimes. So they're also entertaining people while they're spilling out the drinks and the hors d'oeuvres and everything like that.
Well, they're servers.
Mm-hmm.
They're servers.
I didn't know if there was an official...
They're servers at the party.
So, I mean, this movie is still funny, really holds up to this day still. It's
Tap
funny...
into America! They're meeting the producer, I think.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because when initially... At one point when I was watching...
Or the promoter of their tour is what they're doing. Anyway.
So when I watched the film, like on the second run through of the movie years and years ago, I remember I was talking about the film with a couple of friends of mine, and they said that the introduction of that the blonde character that becomes the girlfriend of one of the band members, and that she ends up breaking up the band, and that it's a clear homage to Yoko Ono and John Lennon.
Yes, it is.
But in the same time, though, when I watch it, I think to myself, I'm watching it this time, and I'm thinking, I see where people are coming from, but she is not the sole reason that they break up.
They're doing it as a joke.
Yeah.
Like, that it's a couple that are so close. They're so close, like in a band, like John and Yoko. And she takes over the band, and that's all. And I've seen it like that before in other bands, and it's so funny how they do it. It's really funny.
Watching the Stonehenge, for example,
Oh
watching that, they wanted to get a big Stonehenge. I think it's a little thing that they're trying to work with.
And when you and I went to Stonehenge, and I was laughing about Stonehenge and Spinal Tap, you were not getting into it at all. And I was having my own little party.
You sure were.
It was so much fun, and I enjoyed it. And you were like, I can't stand this. I'm freezing. We froze at Stonehenge.
Yeah, it was freezing cold out there. It was extremely windy.
It was cold.
It was just
freezing.
Miserable.
And I was loving it because I was finally at Stonehenge. And I got a shirt that says Stonehenge Rocks, and I got it for you. You didn't want anything to do with that shirt. You weren't going to throw that shirt. I said, you're not throwing that shirt. And I still have that shirt.
I feel like at the time I was thinking, this is such a waste of time. It's just a bunch of rocks.
And it's not. It's a very important thing in the world. They don't know how. They don't know how those rocks got there.
Yeah, Spinal Tap put them there. That was part of their long-lost concert that never went through.
God.
Didn't sell any seats. It was like Woodstock. Stone Stock. That's what it's going to call. Stone Stock instead of Woodstock.
I really thoroughly enjoy this film.
It's still a fun movie to watch.
Still goes to 11.
Yep. Smell the Glove is just so gruesome and gross, and it makes you think, what?
It was funny how that was all presented.
It was. That's why I think it's funny, because it's so, like, nasty, and, like, why would you want to buy an album called Smell the Glove? What makes you think of what's on the glove to smell it? So, I think it's very clever how they really made fun of how rockers
thought. What's wrong with being sexy?
Of course, we're not talking about the most famous line of the film that goes up to 11.
I already said it. You didn't hear me.
Yeah, but we're not talking about the actual impact of goes up to 11 that we've ever seen before.
But this goes to 11.
Yeah, but why? What makes it... Why 11? Wasn't 10 the highest level? Alright, let's move on. We're gonna... Oh, what would you give it out of 5 stars?
5.
Really? I'm surprised. I thought you would give it a 4.
In most cases, I say, oh, good, 20,000.
You give it 11 out of 5.
I love this film. I love this film completely. And I really love it now more than ever.
Yep, still stands up.
Yep.
Speaking of another film that has a pretty important impact on our legacy, we're going to talk about Highlander. It was released on March 7th, 1986. It was directed by Russell Mulcahy, and it was written by Gregory Wyden, Peter Bellwood, and Larry Ferguson. Immortal men live among the rest of the world, fighting to the death until there is only one remaining. We experience this mystical story through Connor MacLeod, a Scottish Highlander who watches the lives of those he loves and admires come and go with his immortality. Now, the original story was constructed by Gregory Wyden, and he was inspired by a couple of different elements of his... Didn't he go to like UCLA or something like that when we were watching the behind the scenes?
I don't remember where he went, but I do remember he was influenced by some authors to write this script.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing that this got off the ground.
And initially, which I thought was very fascinating, was that he wrote this story and titled it The Dark Knight.
Yes.
And it was originally meant to be about the villain, the Kurgan, which I thought was very...
interesting that how the tables turned.
We could go on and on really about how this movie came to be and the fascinating history behind it too, because we saw it. But this means something on a more personal level with our family and my namesake, because I get my namesake from this movie.
Yes, I was so influenced by this movie.
So why don't you tell a little bit about where that story started?
So I fell in love with this movie because of the music. I fell in love with the music. And I fell in love with... I love sword fighting. Since I was a little girl, I loved Alexander the Great. And I loved sword fighting. And my sister Roxy influenced me about Alexander the Great and his stories. And the author Mary Renault. And so my sister Roxy saw this film. And she told me about it. She said, well, since you love swords, you probably love this movie. And this film was really unique how they filmed this film. And I think you'll love this film. And she just threw it in passing. So I said, oh, really? What's it called? She told me about it, so I had to find this film. And when I saw the film, I fell in love with the music. Not just the film and the sword fighting, but I fell in love with the music of the film.
And who did the music for the film?
Queen. And I was just enamored.
And it's not just "We Will Rock You" and "We Are the Champions."
No, I found out they actually wrote the music for the film.
Mm-hmm. And then they placed some of the music on their album, "A Kind of Magic."
But I didn't know all of this. I just felt the film and the music, and I just said, "This is an incredible experience," and I knew it. And the way they filmed the film was different and unique, and they filmed it in the Highlands, and it's called Highlander. I just felt that this was a unique experience. I knew it. I didn't see it on a big screen. I saw it on my little Hitachi at the time, but to me it was a big Hitachi, but it was a 25-inch. But I knew it was something unique and different, and Sean Connery was in it, and Christopher Lambert, and I fell in love with Christopher Lambert when he played Tarzan Greystoke. I knew he was a great actor. But this was really unique, and it was about sword fighting. But at the time, I just knew that this was a different, unique experience and story. And the music blew me away. And so, when I met your father, he was turning 19 years old, and turned 19 years old. I had shared this movie with him. And he and I saw it together, and he loved the film too. I wanted him to know, what a great film would be. It was something important. And he loved it too.
And with the tagline, "There can be only one." And you just kind of put it together.
Yeah. And your middle name, one of your middle names, is Connor, after Connor McLeod.
Connor McLeod.
And so this film is a very special film. It is uniquely filmed. It is very well done. The music is beautiful. One of the songs from the movie was played at my wedding. Who Wants to Live Forever? I love that song so much.
And it really holds a deep personal connection to you in your life.
Oh yes, that film is, and when we saw recently them talking about the film, it was even more than I could ever hope. How well this film is made, and how much they went to work to make it, and things that fell into their lap quickly is what's shocking. It was meant to be made in this story.
You know, you could say, we could go on also about the legacy of how the films and the sequel films ended up going. But it's really not worth it. Firstly, because we never really saw the sequels. And secondly, they were very critically panned too. It was taken too far away from the original story. It's such a strange fantasy film that it's both unique and not so unique. I think that what makes this film magical, for lack of a better term, is that you could see all the interest and all the fascination with mysticism and fantasy into a film, and they wanted to make sure it was brought to a modern day. It really holds the test of time, and I think it stands out as one of the best fantasy films ever made. It's shot extremely well. Russell Mulcahy was known to be a music video director, and I think that was a great choice for somebody to be able to hold off on a film that's so... I'm losing the perfect adjectives to describe this, but it's very epic. It's huge. It's a fantasy. It's a mystical world, but it's also the real world too. The idea of having such an underworld of magic and
an unbelievable story. It's an unbelievable story of immortality.
Just the simple idea of immortal men living amongst the rest of mortals and seeing life flash before their eyes, while they're also trying to live through this brutal, deadly competition of until there's only one remaining. I love the mystery behind it, that we never really know where this idea and where this game, they call it the game as the continuity went further out. We never knew where it came from. We never understood if it was from a certain being or group of beings, if it came from a certain religion. None of that matters.
And I never did figure out the quickening. For any time I've ever watched that film, I still don't understand the quickening. They go into more details in other versions of the film, like later,
the future films
and the show. They go into about the quickening. In this version, in the first film, they just say the quickening once or twice.
That's what makes this movie so great, is that they don't have to explain too much into it. And I'm the kind of person that really loves details in film, and understanding. If you're going to tell me a really cool, mystical, interesting world, I want to know every little bit about it. That's what I love about Jurassic Park, the way they elaborate on a lot of things that you would think to make it realistic. Back to the Future, the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I will go deep in depth into the intricacies and understandings of how the world works. But in this movie, I can forgive it for not giving too much detail, because it would kind of ruin it. It's all even the characters don't even know exactly why. It's just how it is.
This is a quick trip in that 2-hour span, however long that movie is. It doesn't matter. It's a wonderful trip during that time frame. It's not to be the one that you just described, which was the one that
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, forget that. It's not that. It's not. This is a quick trip down a wonderful. It's just enjoy what you see and feel. Then, you don't have to analyze it to death.
Mm-hmm.
But it's amazing and beautiful, and you're scared to death. That scene when she's in that car with him,
the villain,
the Kurgan,
mm-hmm.
and he's running over people and running in between semis and doing all kinds of awful things in that car. That is the most terrifying situation I can ever imagine.
Well, actually, speaking of characters, let's go into who was in this movie. So Christopher Lambert obviously plays Connor McLeod, the Highlander. We have Clancy Brown, who, in case you don't know who Clancy Brown is, if you're listening to this, he voices Mr. Krabs in SpongeBob. And initially, before that, he was the Kurgan, the villain, in this film. And
he's a big, huge guy with a big, huge voice.
Yes, that's why he was perfect for this. We also have Sean Connery, who plays Ramirez, who is the Highlander's mentor and teaches him about the world. He's been alive for more than 2,000 years. And we also have Roxanne Hart, who is the mortal modern woman that Christopher Lambert ends up falling in love with, as Connor McLeod ends up falling in love with.
Later. Oh, he has several conquests.
Well, there's a couple. They show two. To be fair, they show two, but they do kind of explain very much form. And oh my God, why am I not getting my words together today? They do explain very carefully and very deeply that after that that other woman that he was involved in, Heather, after her death, he was done. He said, I didn't want to go through that ever again.
Yeah, but he met that other blonde woman when she was a little girl, and who knows?
He did, but we never established. They never made it established that they were in a relationship.
Yeah, but it was kind of insinuated.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't see that. At
they
all.
don't show them together, but maybe she cares about him deeply.
Sure, I would say that she does, but he doesn't. He doesn't want to insinuate that. I never insinuated that he would feel the way that he would allow that to happen.
I'm just saying.
I think he would see her too much as a little girl that he saved back in World War II. More than anything else.
But you don't know what happened between 22-year-old and 42-year-old.
Okay, look, can I just believe that men won't sleep with every girl they've ever met? Please.
Okay, talk to Billy Crystal. Talk to Harry when Billy Crystal played Harry.
I know you're talking to when Harry met Sally, but this is a movie. Just like the same. Anyway. Sean Connery is really funny in this. And it's because it's fascinating that he's got 3 Spanish names, but he says he's Egyptian, and he's a Scottish man acting like he's Egyptian. It's very bizarre. But, his character, his personality really fits the character. It's a man who's seen life in more ways than anybody can possibly imagine.
He's so suave.
Yes.
He's so suave in it. So debonair. Mm-hmm. And his costuming is really good in it.
I like to believe that every time, this is not the first time he's tried making friends with somebody like Connor McLeod, and that every time he tries to make friends with somebody and get along with somebody, they either end up being very strange or very combative against him, or the Kurgan ends up killing him. So he keeps trying to find a new friend, and then he finds Connor, which becomes his best friend. He can't find a good friend to be with because they keep dying over and over again.
It's a great film. I've never become bored with it. I've never become bored with that film.
The only time I'll say I'm bored is with the police investigations. Those police people are so boring. And they, the first interrogation thing, that's fine enough, because it's kind of weird how some of the dialogue works. But after that, I don't care about the police at all. They could just be completely cut from the movie. Yeah, but
I'm saying with the film in general, I'm never bored.
Mm-hmm.
You're never bored with that film.
I really like watching Clancy Brown in this. It's so much fun playing a villain, and it's also really hard playing a villain with nothing to work with. And he explained it in the behind the scenes that he pretty much had nothing to work with this character, and he had to make something his own out of it.
The costuming, everything,
mm-hmm.
And he had great costuming people.
And you really admired how he rode a horse in that big Scottish battle at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, he carried that horse, and he said he loved that horse.
Mm-hmm.
It was a big black horse.
I really like how they don't. He has nothing to work with, and that his backstory, the villain's backstory, is so vague that you could kind of make it up on your own whether or not where he comes from. I have my own theories on where this Kurgan came from and why he's so interested in the Highlander, and they never explain why he's so interested in the Highlander. And it works though, because you like that mystery. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. What matters is that he wants at the end of the day, he wants a power, and he thinks all of this whole battle between all the immortals is just a game. And I think that's brilliant, the way he puts that together. I like that you see him, he loses his mind totally. You get to see different aspects of his really sick, twisted personality. Makes you ask the question, was he always this screwed up? Or did he get this screwed up because of all the people he's killed and all the things that he's done with his immortality that's twisted his mind into some sick, demented personality that he's less like a man, more like a monster at this point, a demon from the scowls of hell. And I really think it's fascinating how he puts that together. But then you also laugh at his jokes and you laugh at his little craziness, specifically when they're in the church scene together.
That's a wild scene. But the whole movie is fascinating, and the filming is so beautifully done. Of the city, and then they do the Highlands, and it's just incredible.
There's so many great shots, not just of the Highlands, but a lot of close-ups with certain characters and how they put it together. Usually music video directors don't do the best job of making films with proper angles and certain themes revolved around it because they just want to make action shots. But this really was the perfect film to have a bunch of action shots in it, even in places that shouldn't be there. It works really, really nicely. Russell really knew how to balance out the nuances of important, slower moments and opportunities for some moments to really shine. And
this new version that you got had other scenes in it we never saw before.
Mm-hmm. The director's cut, and it worked. I would say it worked better than the original as well. The original theatrical cut too.
There were scenes in it that I never saw before. I was like, I don't remember this.
So I think it's still great. It had a $19 million budget, and it ended up making $12 million in the box office. But it's so funny because even though it wouldn't be considered a big success, I've very rarely, when I don't really explain my namesake too much with people. And, I think of my name, I know it's different. And I'm very humbled when people comment on it and compliment it as well. I'm very appreciative of that too. But I try not to think of my name as anything too much different from like a Bob or a Jack or anything normal or regular that you'd expect to see as well. But I'm very appreciative of that too. And it's so funny when I'm talking to older people who commented on, because usually a lot of older people will comment more than younger people on my name. And when they'll ask me, I'll get asked a lot, where'd your name come from? And I usually tell the story that, there's the movie Highlander. There can be only one. And as soon as I say Highlander, it's like everybody I talk to when I say Highlander, they know exactly, like, oh, I love that movie. And their face lights up. And this is a movie that nobody ever talks about. You never hear about it in other films, in media, or anywhere for that matter. Under very niche circumstances do you hear the title Highlander ever spoken about. But I swear it's true. Every time when I'm talking to somebody I would say over 40 years old, when I say Highlander, they like, oh yeah, that movie. And it's so crazy to me how many people know about that movie.
It's a great movie. Mm-hmm. It's a great movie.
It's like you're unlocking a little piece of their past, their own memories that they forgot about. And they're like, oh yeah, Highlander.
But see, and there was a show that was really popular back in the 90s. Duncan MacLeod, mm-hmm. The Highlander. And it was real popular. And I never really watched it. Because it wasn't Connor MacLeod. It wasn't Mike Christopher Lambert.
Which that's fair, it's going to be hard to sell something like that.
Because
it did do well. I researched it a little bit way back when. I watched a couple episodes. It was very good, but I just never.
It wasn't my Christopher Lambert. I was so loyal to him.
I'm watching other shows right now, but eventually I'll get to the Highlander series.
Well, I'd like to see it.
Duncan was good. I like Duncan in it, and it was pretty well shot for the first couple episodes that I saw of it, and it did really well. It did 4 seasons, and it was critically acclaimed. And you don't do a show with that much of a budget, because I'd say like it's a sword fighting action movie, take place in New York. That's a big budget. You have to really sell it for it to keep going off more than one season. So it did very well on things considered there too.
It did. So I just was so, and I was busy, and it was.
Do you believe that they should have ended after the first one though, because the sequels are
Yes.
It is one of those movies where you don't really have to see more of it. They ended it perfectly. It's got the perfect ending of a film of that caliber and what it's supposed to represent.
Right. I didn't feel a need that they needed to go on.
So it's funny because, when you make a sequel, it's because you think there's a lot of potential for it to succeed, but it didn't really do that well in the box office. Why do they think this is going to work?
I don't know. I think it was because other fans, we want to see another one. We want the people that want the action.
But I also think that Queen had something to do with it because they were such a big band at the time that maybe because Queen gave them their stamp of approval, people were the studios were thinking, hell, if Queen likes it, we got to make more of these or something like that.
Did Queen do their music?
The first movie, yes.
No, did Queen do the music for the?
Oh, I don't know about that, but they were in the soundtrack.
So what you were saying, it didn't make sense to me. I don't know if Queen did the music for the other movies.
No, they had nothing to do with the other movies.
Okay, then that doesn't make sense. I'm thinking it was the action. Fans that were guys wanted that action with the swords.
Maybe.
That first one was pretty violent at the times.
I don't remember enough about the history of film in the mid to late 80s with sword fighting movies or action movies. They
didn't have much sword fighting.
So that probably was it. Is that there wasn't enough of it. When they found something that was decent, they wanted to try to make something off of it. But
when I named you Sword, people looked at me like I was out of my freaking mind. But I saw in the future that sword fighting would be really popular. I felt it. I saw it. I understood it.
I mean, it's been around for thousands of years.
But I know.
It's going to continue to go around too.
But not it. It's how popular is it now?
It's still pretty popular. There's a lot of great samurai movies that come out every couple of years.
But it's Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones is huge. Yep. Well, it was huge, and it still is. It's still got the spin-offs and everything going on too. But people love medieval stuff.
When you were born, it was not popular, and people thought I was out of my crazy. I was crazy. And I said no, that's a cool name, and that's a name that I believe in. And it's a strong name. Even your dad said, I have to sleep on this. I have to sleep on this. I said, okay, that's fair. Because there's, I wanted Alexander, but he didn't, he said, middle name, but not first name. Mm-hmm. So, but you moved the first time when Roxy said, Sword Alexander. And she was joking in a way, but it stuck. That's our joke.
Yep, it's the joke you left telling everybody. How do you get a name? Well, it was pretty sharp, huh? It kind of stuck. I'll get to the point.
Touche.
Yes. There's dad jokes and there's mom jokes. You control the mom. All right. What would you give it out of 5 stars?
Oh, I love that movie. 5. I would give it, the clouds. I'd give it everything. I give it a 5 only because it really does it's not a perfect film, but few films are. And for something that shouldn't work in this caliber, it really does. There's something so childlike about the way the story is told, but it's so adult and it has so many different little lessons you can learn from it too. And it's just a really well shot film that you can appreciate and still go on with too. And it still holds up. Yeah, it does. The story holds up. The pacing really holds up too, and I love watching Clancy Brown in this. I mean, I like Christopher Lambert, and I think he's a great. He's got more subtlety, and he's passionate, and he does such a good job. And I love Sean Connery too, but watching Clancy Brown is like it's a whole other movie comes on. They were really surprised they got Sean Connery. Oh yeah, they were. They didn't think he would do it. He was like, "Yeah, I'll do it. It sounds fun." There we go. I get to be in the Scottish Highlands and just hang out with people. It was great. So it was great. I think it still really holds up too. But let's go on. We're going to move on to The Big Lebowski. It was released on March 6, 1998. It was directed by the Coen brothers and written by them too. And the synopsis is it's about Jeff Bridges playing the Dude, an unemployed man who accidentally gets involved in an overarching plot involving a kidnapping, burglary, family conspiracy, and much more in this bizarre yet timeless cinematic experience. All right, dude. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's one of my favorite movies of the 90s. I love The Big Lebowski. And I didn't watch it till way, way later. I didn't see this film till way, way later. I heard all about it for years and years, but never got to see it. I didn't know what the big hoopla. All I ever see was Jeff Bridges in that robe.
I'm pretty sure I saw it. I want to say I saw it between 2013 and 2014. And I was watching some movies for my films narrative class. Eventually, I came across this one just out of happenstance. And I thought, this is a weird movie, but I like it. But and as the older I get, the more I appreciate it. I've watched this movie like 5 times now. And the more I watch it, the more I appreciate it.
I've seen like 3 or 4 times.
It's just still so funny. It really holds up. It's just, I love talking about this movie because it's a film that you can really dissect and analyze, and there's so many little layers to it. It's like an onion. Onions have layers. This movie has layers. At the end of the day, what makes it really perfect for me is that it's a really serious story that revolves around a totally unserious dude. And I think it really does a great job where it kind of makes fun of life, and it makes fun of what people think films should be about. Because in a way, it's parodying these Academy-nominated films, these big artistic films that have some kind of weird family dynamic and drama. And then you have this guy pops up with a robe who smells, is unemployed, and he's just trying to live. And the plot being all about all he does is just live on his own, do his own thing. And then these 2 jerks come into his house, stuff his head down his own toilet, demanding that they gives him money back. It turns out they have the wrong guy, and that's named Lebowski in California.
The very same name.
And then the second guy pees all over his rug, and he's pissed about it, literally and metaphorically. And all he asks for and all he wants is just to get a new rug because it really tied the room together. Those are his words. And it's just, it's so stupid. All he wants is a rug. All he wants is a rug to replace this really crappy rug that he already had in his room, but it really tied the room together.
That was John Goodman.
Yeah, they all agree with it too. And you meet like John Goodman, who's in it. He plays as one of his best friends, one of his only friends, who's this Jewish Vietnam veteran who takes life really seriously, and
big dude.
He's a huge man, and he's really unhinged. He's got a serious anger problem, but then he also gets super calm and chill.
I don't know. I would call him calm or chill, man.
It's really funny the way he comes about this. This is his best movie. I just love watching John Goodman in this. He gets all angry and like really violent, and then he just calms down.
That's another actor that is unappreciated.
John Goodman?
We should appreciate him one week.
Absolutely.
He is really unappreciated because he plays all these different roles that is really great.
Yeah, he's played some very great serious roles. You've never seen him in his best serious role. 10 Cloverfield Lane. Oh, it was incredible. Oh, it was absolutely incredible. And then he plays these really funny characters that there's so much truth in it. Because even though he's crazy, you also understand where his
he plays
anger.
Real characters. He plays real people.
Yeah, you understand where he's coming from and why he gets so upset about these things. Steve Buscemi has a very small role in this, but he's so iconic. He plays Donnie. And he's just the third guy of the dude's bowling team, and there's only 2 parts of this movie.
Why do they call him Walter?
Walter's the name of John Goodman's character.
Oh. Okay.
And the only thing that's talked about and shown in this movie is the bowling team aspect of it, where they're just trying to bowl, and then there's the big conspiracy going around where they got the wrong Lebowski, and this dude gets caught up in this weird conspiracy about a girl getting kidnapped, and the
Bunny, not the
this wife named Bunny who gets kidnapped because she's the wife of the Big Lebowski, the millionaire Lebowski.
Which is really not a millionaire, we find out.
Yes, but spoilers ahead. And then it gets involved with Julianne Moore, who's the daughter of the Big Lebowski, and it's a whole big conspiracy thing. And it's silly, and it's really stupid to explain to somebody. It's a thing that you have to just see to understand. And it's iconic. It's an iconic movie. They have a lot of funny little segments where when he gets knocked down, he goes to these when he gets knocked out, he goes to these surreal dream-like trips. I love the first one where he's flying and he's got that song in his head and he looks really happy flying over Los Angeles. It's just so bizarre, and you meet these other weird characters in it,
Oh my gosh, my condition was in. I love that one.
The soundtrack is so good in this.
Uh-huh.
The soundtrack is phenomenal in this. The way that Jeff Bridges reacts to things. I mean, one of my favorite quotes in movie history is when he's in the bowling alley and John Turturro's character is talking about how he's gonna beat them and with obscenities,
Mess them up.
Yeah, mess them up and everything. And Jeff Bridges just leans back, puts his hands behind his back of his head, and he's like, "Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man." And I love that. I use it. It's a quote that I use frequently in my lifetime when somebody's giving me a hard time about something, or when we're talking and somebody gives us opinion and acts like it's a big deal. I was like, "Well, that's just like your opinion, man." It's the perfect response to anything that you don't like. That's your opinion, stuff.
But that's the way to get out of something too.
Yeah, it really is a philosophy. It's a philosophy that anybody should live by, which is just let life be life, enjoy it, and just people always have opinions. That's just yours.
That's what they say. Opinions are like, you know what?
Yep, everybody's got one, and it really works. I mean, the movie shouldn't work, but the Coen brothers make a lightning in a bottle.
Oh my gosh, it's so well done.
Yeah, Raising Arizona is an example of like a film that they do about very chaotic, weird characters that fit perfectly in this world, and it really stands out. And I like Steve Buscemi in this so much because he gets so beaten up by Walter specifically, but he's so small, but he's got such an important part in it. And it reminds me of that every role is an important role, even the smallest ones, because his role ends up becoming very important throughout the film. And I love that it's a movie about friendship, and that's something I didn't think about until watching this, doing this rewatch of it, is that it really is a movie that's not just about life and making fun of film, but also it's about friendship and about how far your friends will go for you. And what your friends will do for you, even in the most ridiculous situations. So I always laugh because I laugh at this movie, think about the little things that happen in it, and I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's something else.
Did people talk about the movie? Like you said, you watched it years later.
Yeah,
but when it first came out,
it was a big time talked about. So I just didn't watch it. It's like The Matrix. I was like,
it's too big. It's too
yeah, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait.
Did you find yourself really appreciating it when it first came out, like when you first saw it, or in future rewatches?
No. I liked it when I first watched it, but it had to sink in more. This is the kind of movie things have to sink in. Mm-hmm. You have to see it again to see some other little things in it. Because you're still trying to see another thing, and before another thing happens.
Yep.
There's a lot to soak in on this movie.
When I think of something like The Big Lebowski, I think of all these really just disappointing movies that we've seen throughout the years. Not talking about the podcast, but whenever we watch movies for the Oscars, I see all these movies that have these really ridiculous plots, and they're taken so seriously. And I just think of The Big Lebowski and how they also have a ridiculous plot that takes itself so seriously. But then this guy shows up and screws up everybody's ideals of things. That's why I think it's a great parody of these movies. It makes fun of these movies that try to take itself so seriously. Another person that you really like in it is Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yes, he's really good in it, and he's thinner. He looks healthier.
Yeah, his character is a great example of character development, where he's all straight-laced, and he's super reserved and very very professional. But then as the movie goes on, it becomes a little bit more lackadaisical and unhinged. Where he starts calling him Mr. Lebowski at first, and then by the time near the end of the movie, he's like, "Come on, dude, don't go in there, dude. He's busy." And that's perfect character progression, and it's something you don't really
It's
see.
subtle. It's subtle.
Yeah, you don't pay attention to it until you really look at it, until you're really paying attention to it and see it. Like, he actually is changing, because he's also getting sick of all this crap. He wants to be done with this movie. He's like, I want to go home, man. He's like, it's great. It's great.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Philip Seymour Hoffman's really good.
Well,
at it,
obviously it did well too, especially for an independent film. It had a $15 million budget, and it made $48.3 million in the box office. And that, I'm sure it made triple that in rentals and DVD purchases, Blu-ray. Hell, it's like $11.
People have Lebowski parties.
Yeah. I'd love to have a Lebowski party.
That would be a lot of fun.
That'd be a lot of fun. I just imagine that,
people dress up like the characters. It's a lot of fun.
It's great. It's just, you got people in the, like, Julianne Moore redhead hats, like redhead wigs, excuse me. I mean, I'd love to do that. It'd be fantastic. Something that I'm sure it did so well. You can buy it on 4K Blu-ray right now for $11 on Amazon. That just shows you the legacy that it's held up to. And that when I think of great cinematic movies, I think of The Big Lebowski. I do mean it when I say it's one of my favorite films of all time.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of people's favorite film.
There's a reason why. There's a good reason why.
Yep.
So what would you give it out of 5 stars?
I give it a 4.
Why is that?
Oh, because it's a 5?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's some other people in it that I'm not thrilled about. And there's just some little things in it that I would do a little different. But I'm just being picky.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just being picky about the film.
Oh, you're good. I just wanted to ask. I give it a 5, and those little things that really don't bother me because I see where they made those choices specifically about too. But
I'm being extremely, extremely picky. But other than that, it's just I give it a 4.
No, I totally get it. And I do believe at times, and I also agree. I also believe that sometimes they use too many curse words that they're unnecessary. I get that it's some of the dialogue of some of these characters, but I'm not a prude. I don't mind the F words, but I think they use the F word a whole lot more than they should, especially early on in the film, and they just have to calm it down somewhat. It becomes mind numbing at a certain point where they constantly use it. I
just think there's some lighting that could have been better in some certain situation. When they're in the car, it's real dark. They could have done some different lighting to make it a little bit better when they're in the car.
I know what you mean.
There's just certain things that I noticed that could have been shot better to make it better.
For sure.
And I'm being picky. And the Coen brothers are pretty experienced filmmakers.
Yeah, they are. All right, let's move on to our last movie. We're going to talk about The Grand Budapest Hotel.
That's not the last. We have one other movie.
Well, we do, but let's finish up
the movies that we
watch for the Oscars.
I'm saying we're critiquing this, and then we've got an Oscar movie that we're going to be discussing.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
But the last movie we're going to take a deep dive into is The Grand Budapest Hotel. It was released March 7th, 2014. It was directed and written by Wes Anderson. It's an original story that tells the story of the famous Grand Budapest Hotel and a particular incident that nearly had the manager charged for murder. There's like 24 actors that have cameos in this movie.
This is a great film.
Very specific characters. And I did not want to name all the actors that are in it, but the 3 main focused actors that stood out that were the central characters were Ralph Fiennes, who plays the manager. There's Tony Revolori, who plays the bellboy.
He's fantastic, which he gets snubbed.
Mm-hmm. And Jason Schwartzman, who plays one of the other workers in the hotel himself.
But there's women in it that's very important.
Yes, there are some important women characters in there as well. And there's other male characters that have the people I forgot about for a minute, but they only show up pretty briefly, all things considered. And this is such a funny, interesting story.
It is such a great film.
From the beginning to end.
Ralph Fiennes was so incredible.
He really was. But I really like that this is not a story not just about one single incident, but it does tell the story of the hotel, although a lot of its history is brief, from the very beginning of its founding to the very end of it, too. And it ends on kind of a sad note.
It does.
But it's something that's so realistic, that it's just like how life can be.
Especially during that time.
Mm-hmm. And it's really, I like it a lot. I think it was very well done how they put it together. I find myself, when I watch Wes Anderson movies, I find that the ones that we've seen several of them at this point. The ones that we don't really keep watching or don't care for that much are the ones that Wes Anderson usually co-writes or has collaborations with. The movies that you really enjoy and the movies that I really enjoy are Wes Anderson is solely, specifically involved in. As in, this was written and directed solely by him. Moonrise Kingdom was written and directed solely by him. The Fantastic Mr. Fox is a film that I really enjoyed. It was written and directed solely by him. Those are the ones that are favorites, and whenever there's no collab, it's when he's directly involved in it. Those are our favorite ones of his. And that's why I notice is that that we have a similar taste when it comes to how he puts this stuff together.
Well, this was a beautiful film.
It is.
And so funny, too.
It is extremely funny.
Getting a look on your face when Willem Dafoe throws the cat out.
I'll never forget when I first saw that. I'll never forget. Because we saw that in theaters, right?
Yes, twice.
Yeah. The first time when I saw that cat get thrown out that theater, I heard the laughter, but I swear I went numb from laughter for like 2 minutes straight. I could not even. You had to tell me to stop. Like stop it, but I couldn't help it. I was losing it. The look on that man's face when he just throws a cat out the window, and then the next shot you see it's lying flat like a pancake. It's like a 30-story building. I don't know why.
But it was the reaction of Jeff Goldblum.
Yes, he's like, "What? You just
throw out my cat?" And he loved that cat. That was the funniest thing.
It was so bizarre. It comes out of nowhere. It comes out of absolutely nowhere.
And I was mortified because I love animals.
And he's petting the cat and everything. He likes it. All of a sudden,
it's awful. It's awful. It's awful.
Oh my god, it's terrible. And I usually don't laugh at that kind of stuff, but it's just the humor, the facial expressions make it really funny.
And Ralph Fiennes, when he goes up to those cops, the cops come in to arrest him, and he says, "You're here to arrest me." He runs like hell.
Yes,
like away from him.
He goes, and "You're here to arrest me." Yes. Pause. Run. He just bolts it. He doesn't even question it. And they're like, "Oh crap, he's running away!" And then they have to start going after him. It takes them a second to realize, "Oh shoot, he's running away."
The way he runs.
Yes.
He's a little skinny thing. Oh god.
Ralph Fiennes is he's such a versatile actor. He's like John Lithgow, where he can just transform into anything.
Oh my gosh.
He will transform into anything you want.
Oh my god.
And it's truly impeccable what he does.
Oh god.
This movie is so well written and it's so funny. And obviously that goes without saying, talking about how fantastic the technical production of this film is. You really feel like you're in this world and that you're I just can't even begin to talk about how beautiful the artwork is and how they make this film possible. The shots. I mean, I love Moonrise Kingdom, and I think Moonrise Kingdom is personally it's Wes Anderson's best film. But it's like he's even trying to say I could do you one better, and it really does. It's something that you will never, ever, ever see something like it again.
It is beautifully done. It is so funny and so charismatic cinema. How can I put it? It's a charismatic cinema is what I think I could describe this film.
You know, I see a lot of people talk about the Royal Tenenbaums and how that's an iconic, brilliant film of his, and I respectfully disagree with the notion that that's his best one. I thought it was okay, all things considered, and I didn't really care for it. Neither did you, if my memory serves me correctly as well. There were some parts that were good in it, but it just didn't have the same kind of whimsy and fun.
Yeah, whimsy's a good one.
It's too the Royal Tenenbaums took itself too seriously, and this is this is my opinion, of course. That's just like your opinion, man. And this is just like my opinion, man. But Grand Budapest and Moonrise Kingdom do a great blend of serious storytelling, but with the whimsy, with the comedy that comes from life, and the little nuances of characters that really bring it together and bring it home.
Oh, it's exquisite.
It's a masterpiece. I
It
think
is.
it truly is a cinematic masterpiece. It is one of the greatest films of the 21st century. It is truly, it's something that's timeless. I can watch that movie again and again. If you ask me to watch it right now, I will. So let's go watch it again.
And you'll always find something new.
Absolutely. So with all that said, I remember when it came out, it got a lot of rave reviews and it made a lot of money. It did $25 million. It had a $25 million budget, which is so minuscule, all things considered, and it did $174 million in the box office. It is the most recent film as of this point that has entered the Library of Congress's National Film Registry. It is the most recent film ever, like the newest film ever to be entered into the National Film Registry, and it's also the most recent edition as well. That happened just last year.
Wow.
And I think it really deserves it.
Well, we went and saw it twice in the theater. That's how beautiful it was.
Yep. And I like watching it over and over again. What would you give it out of 5 stars? 5. Yeah, me too. This is funny because the last couple of weeks have been very difficult to find some like really good movies. And then we have this week, which has...
Well, there were some that we didn't get to see.
No.
That we wanted to see.
Yep.
I wanted us to watch Lean on Me because it honors Gloria and Joe.
Yep.
Dr. Joe Clark.
And that came out this week as well. We just didn't have time.
Yeah.
But it's funny that we got to see all these films and see ones that were really iconic that we really appreciate and have a personal history with too. One more movie that you wanted to talk about this week because we saw the Oscars. Just last night we saw Frankenstein.
Yes.
This is Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. This was nominated for a bunch of different awards, including Best Picture as well. So we wanted to have a chance to check it out. And neither of you are...
Well, let's name some of the actors in it, because one was nominated.
Yes. Let me pull it up, because I wasn't prepared to pull it up real quick. So let me just do that real quick.
He's an amazing actor. He deserves to be mentioned as nominated. Let's see what's nominated for Frankenstein for the Oscars right now.
So currently, it is nominated for Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor with Jacob Elordi. We have Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Cinematography, Best Production Design, Best Costume Design, Best Makeup and Hairstyling, Best Original Score, and Best Sound. Now, I do believe that Oscar Isaac, who played Victor Frankenstein, deserved the nomination for Best Actor, but the fact that he was not...
That's shocking.
It's just another disappointing
because
aspect.
he was extremely well. I mean, he did a great job in this film.
Oscar Isaac is a quintessential actor, and he is one of the greatest actors that we've seen in the last 20 years. He is extremely passionate and sensitive, and you see that with Victor Frankenstein's character. While we personally did not agree with how the story ended up being told and how the character Victor progressed and how he what he ended up doing later in the film, you've got to appreciate Oscar Isaac's acting in it and his prowess and the passion he puts into it.
He was really the lead.
Mm-hmm.
Now the Jacob Elordi was fantastic as Frankenstein's monster.
He was Best Supporting Actor, which I would say it's kind of a weird thing to put Best Supporting Actor on that because he's just as much of a lead as Victor is.
He was very much a lead, and he did a great job. He was tremendous.
I don't get what's this thing about he's the Best Supporting Actor. Yes, he doesn't get into the movie until 30, 40 minutes into it, but that's kind of the point. Like you don't start it with Frankenstein, even though they actually did start it with the monster. At the beginning of the movie. But he's not exactly a Best Supporting Actor. I would say he would be nominated for Best Actor. Because he had a lead role in this. He's just as important as Victor Frankenstein is.
He was tremendous. But I liked some of the cinematography in it. Some of it I didn't. Some of it looked too much like a set to me. I felt like I was there. It would look too much like a set. Like a theater set. Mm-hmm. To me. In some cases. Some cases it didn't. But in a lot of cases it did. I felt like I was at a set.
What else did you like about it?
Well, I loved the acting. But I was disappointed in the story. I never read the book. I thought there was too much violence, unnecessary violence, and there was things that weren't real. There were when the explosion occurred, where Victor Frankenstein was going to destroy the tower, and where he invented his monster and destroy his monster. He had hundreds of these cans, either kerosene or gasoline, I'm not sure, that came up and were everywhere. It did not make any sense. It was not realistic. It was unfathomable that you could, by himself, he had no servants, and he had these copper cans, all the same, that were strewn everywhere from staircase to staircase to different stories, all over the place. It was laughable. I was laughing. Mm-hmm. And I said, he hates it. You even said he hates these cans.
Yep, I was quoting the Jerk movie.
And I had brought it up saying,
where do you get all these cans from? They never talked about how if they need kerosene or gasoline. Where's all they're using?
To start a fire.
They're using electricity. Where did this come from?
It didn't make any sense. And there was other things that were unbelievable. Why was he hating the monster? Why was he hating this monster?
Yeah, he grew to...
he worked so hard to create.
He became ashamed of his own creation because he was just saying one word and he was acting like a newborn child. And I just thought that it didn't really make sense for him to be that way, especially because the first 30 minutes are about him and his childhood, about how his father was very ruthless and cruel to him and unfeeling to him. And he said that I would never be a man like him, and he ends up exactly like a man like him.
But he was worse. He was worse.
Yeah, and I get that, sins of the father, sins of the son. I get that. Trust me.
But he was worse.
It just doesn't. It doesn't fit.
Add up.
He is very much a sensitive person from the beginning of the movie, and he's still sensitive. By the time he's still an adult, I would think that his character would have enough introspection to be able to see the worst qualities of his father and not want to put that on his own creation. And I would think also with his character that he wouldn't see his monster as a deformed thing, even though it may not be the way that he expected it to be. He would still raise it as the son he never had the opportunity to.
And the costuming was insulting. He had little tiny briefs on, and
then he gets shorts.
And then he's got longer.
I call them briefs. First he gets briefs and then he gets boxers.
I mean, things just didn't add up. Okay, things just didn't add up throughout the storyline. And I wasn't trying to analyze the play. I was trying to enjoy the movie. You saw me. I was trying to, and I am a big fan of Jacob Elordi. I like him. I like him as an actor. I've seen him in several things, and he's just a really good actor. And he's also good to look at. And I wanted to see how he was going to act in this, and it just got worse and worse and worse. I just didn't like it. I tried. And even the ending was terrible.
I respectfully disagree about the ending. I think the ending was good. I liked how it ended. I don't feel as negatively as you do about how things kind of went. I think there were some aspects that I didn't enjoy with the story, but I really like how there were some elements of the story that were being told and how they were being told. My favorite part is when he learns that the monster learns to be human from other people instead, and you start to really see the beauty of humanity and what good human companionship can do to a person and can make somebody whole. And that's something that I really appreciate and valued. And I do like that what led to because there's three parts. There's the prelude, there's Victor's tale, then there's the monster's tale.
I didn't say I didn't like all of it. Mm-hmm. There's some parts, of course, I like, but there's other parts that don't add up.
Well, what I was trying to say was that I like that near the end of Victor's tale, while the present day is currently happening, quote unquote present day, I like that instead of becoming once again a brutal monster, the monster stops his rampage to tell the story and say, "Whoa, wait, hold on! You're hearing his version of the story. Let me tell you my version of the story." And that's him talking about and telling that story, and I thought that was very poignant. and I thought it was a very intelligent way of telling different perspectives about what was happening.
I didn't believe that the monster could live in the same household of all those people, and no one would notice that he's right there in the same house.
I wasn't thinking that much into it.
All those months, and you said it's believable. I said it couldn't be believable.
Technically, he doesn't have to eat, but at the same time, maybe he does. But like that's the more you think about it, the worse it's gonna get, because the more you think about how a monster like him works, the worse it's gonna get. Because you can't think too much into it. If you think too much into it, then it becomes then the whole movie's unbelievable from the very beginning.
No,
of
I'm
it.
just saying that situation, him being in the mill, they don't hear him getting up and about and going to the bathroom.
Well, that would make me think, well, okay, just a few weeks ago we saw Roofman. It was about a man who was hiding in a Toys R Us for several weeks. Don't look at me like that, you know I'm right. And he became part of a community, and nobody even knew or suspected he was in that
I told
place.
you about that too. I'm not going to go there. I'm just telling you this was... no.
But I'm not thinking that much into it.
Okay,
I'm thinking about the important aspect is that while he was in that home, he was able to become a human by learning to become
These people
human.
lived there constantly, 24/7. I'm not... It was... Okay, he hates these I'm just going to go there. There was things in there that were unbelievable.
Okay.
Unbelievable. And it didn't make any sense.
Okay.
And I'm not...
Are you upset that I liked the movie more than you did?
No. No, I'm just telling you that there were weaknesses in the film that didn't make any sense.
Yeah, there were.
But I've never read the book. I've only seen versions of Frankenstein on TV, including Young Frankenstein. Gene Wilder. Mel Brooks film.
I never read the book either. I wasn't trying to think, is this similar to the book? I'm sure the book is great. I'm just thinking about as the story was being told. So.
Okay, so it was not my, but there's been so many Oscar-nominated films this year that I'm disappointed in.
Yeah, same here, but that's how it is every year for me nowadays. It's been like that for like the last decade for me with movies. The last decade of Oscar-nominated films have usually been pretty abysmal.
Anyway, it was very violent. You didn't even have us watch the violent parts.
Nope, I skipped
You
it.
skipped them very quickly. And it wasn't. And you say, "I'm going to skip this for you," and then you were the one who didn't want to see it either.
Also, okay, look. I mean, you're right. I did skip them for you, but also I skipped them for me because I don't want to see that crap. I don't like unnecessary violence. I've seen all kinds of great violent content. And I say great violent content because there's a lot of great movies that need violence, have violence, etc. I don't like or revel in seeing gruesome imagery. And I've watched Walking Dead. I've watched Game of Thrones.
Okay, we don't need to know.
I've watched some pretty messed up stuff. And I don't need to continue seeing messed up stuff unless it serves a purpose. And it's just...
I don't think we...
I don't really need to...
I don't want
see the stuff. You know, that's not what makes them. That's not what makes Frankenstein. I thought it was very fascinating how they did the creation of the monster and like how the body autonomy worked and how they explained how he has the super strength, how he has advanced healing. I thought it was very fascinating. They created a fictional way of how somebody could live and have these supernatural abilities through a secret lymphatic nervous system.
That reminds me. He could not push that big ship on his own like he was Superman.
With as lanky as he was, yeah, I completely agree with that.
Like he was like Superman. He was not Superman.
He was not the size of the Hulk, but then he had the strength of the Hulk.
Do you know what? He could have played a good Superman, that gentleman.
He could. Probably still can, too.
He would be an excellent Superman. I really like him.
Good. Well, those are the movies we had a chance to see this week. This was a great week for movies, thank God, because we really needed it too. And we have some more movies that are lined up for next week as well. So
okay, dude.
Thank you all so much for listening. The dude abides. The dude lives.
The dude abides. The dude abides.
And we'll hear from you all next time. Thank you.
Enjoy the